never thought staying after class would change my life. It was one of those long Thursdays when everything seemed to go wrong. My group had dropped out of our final project, my laptop had crashed, and I was one bad grade away from losing my scholarship. My name's Emma Parker, and that semester nearly broke me. The classroom was quiet when everyone left, just the sound of the air conditioner humming. I sat at the far desk by the window, staring at a blank notebook. My teacher, Mr. Carter, was erasing the whiteboard, his sleeves rolled up, chalk dust faintly on his hands. He was the kind of teacher students actually liked, patient, calm, never raising his voice even when half the class forgot their homework. When he noticed I hadn't left, he walked over and asked, "Still working on your project, Emma?" I sighed, trying to, but honestly, I don't even know if it's worth finishing anymore. He paused, leaning slightly against the desk beside me. "What makes you say that?" "Because I'm failing, Mr. Carter. I've tried so hard this semester and everything keeps falling apart. I can't lose this scholarship." He nodded thoughtfully, the kind of silence that doesn't feel empty but understanding. "Then we won't let that happen," he said gently. "Show me what you've got. We'll figure it out together." That's when I said it without even realizing, "Please, don't stop helping me now. I can't do this alone." He smiled, not in pity, but in reassurance. "I'm not going anywhere. Let's start with what you've written." For the next hour, we went through my project piece by piece. He pointed out where I had strong ideas and where I'd lost confidence. Every time I made a mistake, he didn't criticize, he explained. And slowly, I started to see my work differently. The sun outside turned golden, casting warm light across the classroom walls. My hands moved faster, writing new ideas, connecting thoughts I hadn't noticed before. It felt like something inside me had unlocked. At one point, I looked up and said softly, "You really believe I can do this?" He nodded. "I do. Sometimes all it takes is someone reminding you that you already have what it takes." I smiled, and for the first time in months, I actually believed him. Then, just when everything felt peaceful, the door handle rattled. We both froze. The principal, Mrs. Hawkins, stepped inside, holding a clipboard. "Oh, Mr. Carter, Emma, I didn't realize anyone was still here." I jumped a little, clutching my notebook. "Sorry, I was just finishing my project." Mr. Carter smiled calmly. "All good, Mrs. Hawkins. We were wrapping up some last-minute work before the deadline." She looked between us, nodded approvingly, and said, "I wish more students had that kind of dedication." After she left, we both laughed nervously. "Almost caught working too hard," he joked, and I exhaled in relief. That moment broke the tension completely. From then on, I wasn't scared of asking questions anymore. I started staying after class more often, not because I had to, but because I wanted to learn. One evening, Mr. Carter brought in some old textbooks he'd used during his graduate studies. "These might help you with your analysis," he said, handing them over. I flipped through the pages, amazed at the handwritten notes in the margins. "You wrote all this?" "Yeah," he said with a grin. I was a bit of an overachiever too. Weeks passed, and my project became something I was proud of. I called it, "Learning from the Unexpected," about how small failures lead to real growth. When presentation day came, my hands shook as I stood in front of the class. Mr. Carter sat in the back, giving me a small encouraging nod. I took a deep breath and began. Halfway through, I noticed my classmates actually listening. When I finished, the room was quiet for a moment, and then they clapped. I looked over and saw Mr. Carter smiling, eyes proud. That moment meant more than any grade. A week later, I opened my grade report and almost cried. I'd not only passed, I'd earned one of the highest marks in class. There was a handwritten note at the bottom, "Told you not to give up. You did this." That night, I walked home under the streetlights, the crisp autumn air brushing against my face. Everything felt possible again. I had fought through doubt, fear, and failure, and I'd made it. Years passed. Life moved on. I graduated, got my degree, and found my first teaching job in a small high school 2 towns away. On my first day, I stood in front of a classroom full of nervous students. I saw myself in their faces, the same uncertainty, the same hope. When one of them hesitated to answer a question, I smiled gently and said the same words that once saved me, "Don't stop trying. You've got this." And for a second, I could almost hear Mr. Carter's calm voice echoing in the back of my mind, reminding me of that golden afternoon in a quiet classroom when everything changed. Sometimes, the people who help you believe in yourself never realize how deeply they changed your life. But I'll never forget, because I begged him to never stop, and he didn't. He just taught me to never stop believing in myself.